What's up, guys? It's been a minute, and well, what's up? Huh? 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 Is that enough energy for you? I ain't got shit planned today. Normally, I have a little notebook paper with some notes or whatever, some shit I might possibly want to say, and I just didn't feel like I needed it. Whatever I talk about will come to me. Um, Real quick, just because I know how this YouTube thing works, like, I'm not stupid. I don't want to do a lot of the things that quote unquote make YouTube work. And so just so I can put it in the title and do a little bit of corny stuff. The Eminem Nick Cannon thing, it's stupid. Needs to be done. Because it was just not talking about the shit from years ago, just talking about the shit that's happened recently. It's just stupid. It was Nick Cannon going on a podcast, on Tip's podcast, and talking, about physically coming at Eminem, and he didn't want it. And then Eminem responded lyrically on Lord Above, and then Nick Cannon is doing his thing, and it's just stupid at this point, especially with the actual disses that came out, and how it's all being done. It's just stupid. It should be over. So now that I said that, I can put it in the title, and it won't be complete clickbait because I mentioned it. But that's all I'm gonna say about it. So if y'all got hear for that, that's my opinion. Not that my opinion on it really matters. Also, I guess I could talk about in connection to it, not really about the beef directly, but a lot of the people who, it makes no sense to me, and I get it. I do get it, but I wouldn't do it. That doesn't necessarily mean no one should do it, but the people who on YouTube make disses at people like they're not personally involved with, like a diss track from Nick Cannon to Eminem, however bad, good, whatever it may be, it's like, well, it's there, he has reason, even if it's not a good reason, he has a reason. But people who like there's the didn't Grizzy Hendrix make one, other people, like the people on YouTube who clearly just want to make the diss to get the views to do that thing, when they're probably 99% not at all involved with Nick Cannon at all. And they're probably just going to say things that a lot of other people, reactors, whoever, have already said. Like the disses are whack, duh. Some shit about Drumline or whatever Nick Cannon's past, and it doesn't really matter. Like, you'll get views for that video, but although this is why I usually have notes, because I go back and forth on a lot of things. I'm also doing a similar thing. I'm not doing the same thing, because I wouldn't make a diss about somebody unless I knew them, unless I had a real reason to make one, like I have. And but it's just a thing that I just now thought about, that I don't fully understand why you would do it. I guess that's just the way of the world, how some people work, how some rappers work. I personally would not want to be known for just a diss, for just I've made disses. I've made, like, my Fake Dealer series is completely disses towards someone, but it's someone that I know, and it's not someone who's a public figure. So it's like, well, I'm not gonna really say their names or anything, sort of, but I'm not gonna get into details on it. But I just figured that was a thing to bring up, just to put it in the title, because that title is going to get more clicks. Not because of Nick Cannon's name. Let's not get it twisted or anything. It's because of Eminem's name. You can put Eminem's name on anything, and it's going to do much better. It's numbers, sales, whatever the fuck it is that you're putting Eminem's name on. That it's going to be much better, maybe even 2 times, 4 times better than what it would have been without his name on it. He could sell a fucking pack of pencils and it say Eminem pencils, and that them shits are gonna sell out. Like, they're gonna have to cut down all the trees in the world, or however the fuck they make mechanical pencils, and they're gonna sell the fuck out, you know. And so yeah, there's a little bit of that, not just on the beef itself, that's stupid, but also on a little bit of the culture, you know, if you the YouTube culture, if that's what you want to call it, you know. It's obvious to me that people, I think it would be obvious to other people, but I guess it's entertainment, so it doesn't matter to a lot of other people. But it's clear to me, at least, that a lot of people who make the disses on Nick Cannon or Eminem or whatever, when not personally associated with them, you're quite obviously just doing it for the clicks and using their name. You're not doing it for a legitimate reason. It's not like they really did anything personally to you. Maybe. I guess that depends on the situation, right? That's just my opinion. Now we're gonna move on to the next topic. Right after I fix this fucking thing. By the way, if this is your first DaeseTime, which might be because of the reason I just said for the title, this is purely just like a talkity thing, because if it's not this, I'm just gonna be posting music, and I like to, and I'm not a big social media user in terms of Twitter. I don't even really use Twitter. I just use Instagram, and I make Instagram post the stuff from Instagram to Twitter. You know, I want to have a way of communication without it being just 140 characters or however many it is, you know. So that's basically what these are. It's just me getting out there, getting not my musical personality out there, but my personality out there, and hopefully making it entertaining, or at least a podcasty type of entertainment as well. And at the end of every DaeseTime, there is a reaction bit, but it's not a whole video. I don't normally. It's just have a video before, or I go to the front page on YouTube and we look, and then I pick one, and I find something to talk about with it. And you know, it's working out well so far. I think it has its ups and downs, you know what I mean? It has its moments, and I have to be careful, I've realized, about the reaction videos, just in terms, because there was the Joe Rogan one. I did one where I reacted to Joe Rogan and Dr. Phil, a little snippet of it, and yeah, copyright's funny. Oh, you know what? I guess I could talk about that just a little bit, and then we'll get into I guess the mixtape I just dropped, FuNMIX or FuNMIX. That's why. Anyway, to the copyright thing. So I use everything I do is non-profit at the moment. Almost everything I do is non-profit, just so that I can make music, and that's the whole thing of what I love. And once I have the fan base there, then I can start building on top and making the money and all that. So I've realized that with a lot of non-profit beats, they will get copyright claimed by some like foreign type of thing. I don't know like languages and shit, but it's always some foreign title that they say that the song is, and I've disputed about 20 of my songs, and they've all been cleared. I don't make money from them, but I dispute them because obviously somebody copyright claimed them to make money. But it doesn't, like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Maybe this is what people complain about with the copyright system. Maybe that's part of it. I'm not exactly sure because I'm just new. You know, I have almost, I think right now it's 69 videos. 69 videos posted right now. And it's all just mostly music and shit. But I'm fairly new. Like, in 2017, I had on YouTube, all I posted was 3 songs, and that was For You All, my G-Eazy remix, and Am I Mad, I think was the title. And they were 2017 when I had shit equipment and I was much worse. But it was the G-Eazy remix got claimed back then, But I understood it then, and I understand it now that I used. It was a G-Eazy remix, but it was the instrumental with the hook on it. So I got claimed for the hook being on it, I guess. And that was okay. Like that I understand. When I have a song that uses a hook that's like a pre-hook that's on it, I understand if it gets copyright claimed. Because then I can usually just look up the song and listen to the song that it came from. But these copyright claims from like foreign companies, sometimes just a foreign artist, that I can't even find the song. Like, you copy and paste the song that it says that it's copyrighted for, and you can't even find the song. A, B, like, you look up the label. I remember for 2 of them, I looked up the label that supposedly copyright claimed it, and the artist that they said the copyright that the song was made from was not even on the label like website. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. None of it made sense to me. But I guess until I start making money, it's not a thing I can, complain about. I could see it if it continues. If I continue to do it this way and it continues to be a problem in the future, then it might be something I talk about more and complain about like every other YouTuber. But even though I'm not really a YouTuber, sort of, I don't know what I am. I just do my thing. I do things. But that's a little bit in background, I guess, of the copyright system. I guess I'll go ahead and get into the mixtape I just dropped. FuNMIX. It is FuNMIX, but there's a point to it. Everything I do normally has a point to it, even if it's not directly in front of your face. So FuNMIX Vol.1 was something I always have. I usually, at least for the past 2 projects, I've had the next project already planned out before the project before it was finished. So for my personal, for my prequel project, I already knew that personal was what I was going to make next. When I was working on personal, I already knew that I was going to make something like this. I already have the next one that's coming out after FuNMIX planned out in my head. And the one after that, if not the one before it. I have 2 right now planned out in my head. Because honestly, my music, almost all the music I've made is connected. So orchestra is connected to the prequel, and the prequel is connected to orchestra, and personal is, it's kind of like a trilogy. I've kind of talked about it before in other DaeseTimes, but it's like a trilogy, So I decided that it was time to back it up a little bit and then give that story time to breathe. Those stories, because it's all a bunch of different stories. So FuNMIX was something I planned out that was going to be something just to kind of write raps and make other things happen that weren't connected to the stories I made. So the first song, Sit Back, on the project, and the 11th song, the last song on the project, the mixtape, is It Will Be. Those are the 2 songs that are directly about me on the mixtape. The rest of them are actually all about different things. A majority of them are me envisioning myself as a certain other person. So there's the toxic relationship one, where it's talking about, the toxic relationship where the guy, the goal was it. I don't think it sonically came out how I wanted it, because I've listened back to this mixtape, plenty of times. I believe that one was Come. I believe that was a song. Anyway, it didn't come out sonically how I wanted it, but for that one, just as an example, was to talk about a toxic relationship where the guy is super desperate. So I was putting myself into the shoes of a guy who was just super, super desperate for this girl, and they would get together and then they would argue and they would scream, and it'd have that toxic behavior to it, and then they have a baby, and that's how the song ends. So it's actually the one playing in the background right now if I put it in there, because I'm playing music for the background noise, because I thought it might help just for the lulls in the conversation, the dead air, so to speak, since I don't edit these. And oh no, that's No Right Love. Yeah. Right? What the fuck am I talking about? No, it's come. Okay. um. Anyway, so and also, I guess so the goal, Jesus Christ, the goal for the whole thing was just to write anything not directly related to the story. So tracks 2 through 10 are me putting myself in the shoes of other people, other situations, other things. Like For Us is about a homeless guy. More and More is about the guy who's super vain, has all these things that he wants. He sees them, and the goal for that one, I guess also if you listen to it and you don't like how it sounds, the goal for that one is it was supposed to sound like this guy. So in the beginning, the verses kind of like there's three verses I believe on that song, and each verse it becomes more monotone, more just slow, more just bleh, because the goal for that was to put emphasis on this person who's looking at all these things that he thinks he wants, and he becomes more entranced with it, and the more that he sees it, the more numb he gets to everything else, and he just wants that. So that's a couple of examples of kind of where the direction was going for this one. And I'll be honest, I think my favorite song on the mixtape, I normally don't have a favorite, but my Stand song, it's track 8, Stand. I just had fun with that one. So it was like this, it was in the shoes of this guy who's like super carefree and doesn't care about anything because he sees that the world doesn't care about anything. That was the goal for that one. And it was just fun. It was fun to write. It was fun to listen to. And I love songs like that where I can just have fun and it's not super serious, like all of Personal. So I think it's just a lot of fun, honestly. Making this mixtape was so much different than making Personal or the Prequel or Orchestra. It was just a whole different vibe. It was easier, honestly. I think that I'm easier with lyrical effort than I am with emotional effort. So mixing the two together. So for Personal, it's like you sit there and you try to emotionally grasp these things that I have going on, and you try to make it lyrical at the same time. You try to make it sonically good at the same time, and it's hard to mix all these things together. So when I remove the emotional element out of it, it becomes so much easier to combine the lyrical and sonic things into one project or mixtape or song or whatever it is. So that's kind of, it's just a little bit easier. And I do think my least favorite was No Right Love. No, not No Right Love. Come, where the toxic one. I think that the kind of the angle I went with the hook wasn't all that great, but it still got my message across, so I kept it and I put it on there and I did it anyway. If I had like a record, if I had like a record deal or something, I definitely wouldn't do that. But since it's all nonprofit and I'm not really trying to impress anyone specifically, I'm just trying to build fans off the songs that they can enjoy. So I definitely wouldn't have just seen something I didn't like and then kept it. I would have changed it entirely. I would have done something if I had like, if it was an actual album, especially, even if I didn't have like a record deal, if I wasn't making money off of it still, if it was an album like what I looked at Personal as, I looked at Personal as an album and not like a mixtape, then it would definitely be something that I would not just let go. But I told myself that this would be done before December, so that gave me 1 month, and I got it done in 2 weeks. So it is what it is. Honestly, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do stuff like FuNMIX, where I don't have to take everything super seriously, like I do the other stuff. I'm not going to talk about what's planned next, even if I have the next 2 things planned out. I will say that the one that will probably not come next is WIT. It's WIT with they stand for what is this, and it's honestly a mixtape. It's looking like a mixtape of a bunch of like instrumentals that I would never put on a project because they're like it's gonna be kind of like FuNMIX in a way, where it's just me having fun with it, but it's more focused on the type of instrumentals it is, because it's like video game instrumentals and shit like that I would never put on an album, and that's kind of the theme for it. It's focused more on the type of instrumental it is rather than the type of songs that it is. It's sort of, if that makes sense. So that's one of the things. I won't talk about the other thing because that is more something I'm looking at like it's another album, because it's directly it is potentially the last in what orchestra, the prequel, and personal have set up, and that's all I'll say about that one. So that's a little bit background in not just what I just released, but a little bit into maybe, I guess, my frame of mind regarding the project as a whole. Maybe you can get a sense of I guess how I think when it comes to the music I make. Maybe, I don't know. I thought it was fun to talk about, thought it was fun to mention, and like I said, I'm probably really scatterbrained because I didn't take notes for this one. I just kind of wanted to record something, and so I did, and that's how this works. I don't have, between the release of Personal and FuNMIX, I had released a DaeseTime where I talked about how I make extra songs and things of that nature. I actually don't have any extra songs right now because I released 2 songs every time I release songs. So I released 6 after Personal that had nothing to do with FuNMIX, because there was stuff that I'd made extra during Personal. And so right now I actually don't have any extras. So everything that will be made from this point on will be present and not anything from the past to share. So I think that might be a good thing, because I know that over time my quality has increased. My sonically, how I attack things has definitely started to learn how to engineer my voice better, because I do all that stuff myself. I do the mixing myself, all that, and it was a learning process for some of my music for sure. So I think that from now on, everything will be higher quality than if you went back and you listened to some other stuff. Like, I think the worst song, and this is just me, I think the worst song I've ever made is Dominate. And that's not even like 2017. That's like fairly recent, like a couple, this year, which this year is 2019. I guess you could just look down at when the video is put up. But it was definitely the worst I've made, at least in terms of anything post orchestra, because orchestra is kind of looked at for me differently, in terms of, because it was different equipment. It was before I really had any clue what I was doing, I was just raising the gain on everything when it wasn't loud enough. So I didn't know anything at that point. But Dominate was just bad. It was bad engineering wise, mixing wise, vocally, sonically. It was bad. It was really bad. But I'm not going to get rid of it, because I think that if I keep everything up, then maybe if my music reaches the potential thousands or however many people, then they can go back and they can look and they can see that they can also improve just as I have improved if my music reaches that level, you know? So that's a thing. Oh boy. I think we're about to get to our reaction period, which now we're going to do the front page YouTube test. And I did this the last DaeseTime, where I purely just look up YouTube and see what's on the front page, and I click on something. So I'm looking right now. I'm pretty sure I put it on the screen already. I'll be honest, it's looking meek. I'm not sure I see anything that's really reaction worthy that I can input on anyway, in confidence, right? This is not the normal thing that I use, by the way. I use the internet, the whatever the fuck it is, Microsoft Edge, for these, just so that it's less affected by my recommended of what I usually watch, right? Fucking hell. The J. Cole versus Kendrick Lamar debate. Okay. By the way, just because I saw this, everyone go check out Royce if you find this and you haven't already, even though you probably already have if you found this. My favorite rapper. Just putting that out there. I guess this one looks okay. The J. Cole versus
Extreme Santa made a phone plan.
Kendrick Lamar.
He could snap
So,
and share his endless bag of tricks.
I won't really.
Nice.
I usually don't talk during the
Nice.
video,
Send
but
it.
this is
With
also
unlimited
an
data for
unknown
as
thing.
low as 45
So we're just gonna see what happens with this video, if it goes anywhere. Fair use, blah blah blah.
Of the current leading artists in hip-hop, Kendrick and Cole invite a lot of comparisons because they have much in common, including their conscious street perspectives, low-profile images, and focus on concept albums.
Now, a lot of people talk about, the radio shit that means nothing and the drug shit or whatever. But to these, just with what he said, the concept albums, things of that nature, even with what you hear on the radio, these two are going to be considered great. And that's just fact. Like, that's not, I think there's a point where music becomes less opinion, more based on fact. Like, there's certain things that you can't argue. And what you can't argue is that J. Cole and Kendrick will be considered two of the best hip-hop artists, maybe not ever. I don't know if ever. Kendrick, definitely forever. J. Cole, I would say forever. But people talk about how, like, not good it is to make concept albums and all this shit. I just think it depends on how you do it. And I think these two are a testament to that point of view specifically. So that's a nice little bit to not close on, but to pause on.
The exceptionalism, longevity, and impact of both artists transcends what has been accomplished by their peers. That being said, there are several key areas in which we judge our favorite hip-hop artists.
All right, I'm just going to stop it right there again. If you want to watch this video, by the way, it's on the screen, man. Go look it up. That's not the point of this little segment. We're not even going to watch the whole video. So I think just to touch on the different areas, I'm going to assume there's going to be like, numbers are one, vocals are one, lyricism is one. I feel like there's so many things, flow. There's so many things you can look at hip hop artists for and like determine how good they are at this thing. I'm not sure of how this video will specifically work. That's kind of how I look at rappers. Like, I think of artists like Tech Nine, who can flow so well and they have these amazing rhyme schemes and stuff. I look at them in difference in comparison to, say, maybe a J. Cole, who's not going like super fast all the time like Tech Nine is, or he's not doing the same things Tech Nine is, but they're still great. They're still both great. They're just great at different things. So I'm not sure if that's what this video will do, but we'll watch a little bit more and see if there's anything else that I could say. And here we go.
We'll organize our breakdown of the careers of Kendrick and Cole by these four general categories: skill.
Okay, so I guess skill is like, so commercial success is the numbers thing that I mentioned. Discography, I guess, will just be kind of like the albums thing that I kind of mentioned, like concepts and whatnot. Skill is going to be the kind of like the lyrical, the flows, all that. And I guess impact will be, exactly what it is. Impact, which history and stuff is one. I definitely feel like impact is definitely a big thing for the greats, quote unquote greats, the greats who will be forever on people's minds. That's definitely an influence, like Eminem, just because I brought up Eminem earlier. Eminem wouldn't be considered a great if he didn't have as much of an impact as he did. Even if his lyrical skill was still the same as it was back then, if it was the same now as it would have been in that timeline, but he didn't have the same impact, like he didn't get with Dr. Dre or whatever it is, then he wouldn't be considered a great. Just because he wouldn't probably be as known. You know, his history would not be the same, thus his impact would be changed, thus everything else would be changed. That's the butterfly effect for you.
Discography.
We're just gonna like actually just skip a little bit and
The music.
see what happens. So skill.
On the production side, we'll look at the successes each artist has had as either producers or executive producers of their projects.
So I like Kendrick and I like Cole. I like them both. Kendrick is definitely on my top 10, at least, somewhere at some point. But is he a producer? Is he a producer? I didn't know that.
Lyricism. Despite being a subcategory of skill, even lyricism can be broken down into many parts. Among the important ones are use of literary devices, storytelling.
Alright, so this is definitely a video that, the beginning is definitely something I can bring up and talk about. The rest of it would be, like, reaction worthy. If I were going to watch the whole thing, I would have to watch the whole thing, but I'm not gonna. So if you all are interested in this video, go check it out. Hip Hop Madness is a channel. The J. Cole versus Kendrick Lamar debate. That's my reaction period. This is DaeseTime. And guys, if you made it this far, I appreciate your support. I appreciate the ones who saw the title and then clicked on it and then didn't leave and stuck around for a while, even though I completely did the thing that everyone else does and just use their names for the views and for the algorithm, because that's how it works. I really do appreciate it. And I ask that everybody new or everybody old or anybody at all, go check out the music. I do it all in my homes. Producers are always mentioned in the titles of the songs. There's the playlist where you can just go through everything. And from here on out, I think I'm going to be, I'm working harder than I ever have on music. And I think I'm improving at a drastic speed. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think that the quality will continue to go up, and the more opportunity I have, the more views I have, the more whatever, the more everything else will increase. So if you enjoy the music, share it with people. If you just want to not tell people about me and then listen to it for yourself because you want that to be your little gem that you found, if you enjoy it, you can do that too. You can follow the Instagram. I do have Twitter. I have all the things. Just keep in mind that my Twitter is basically just Instagram repost. And the Instagram and Facebook, I don't really post things other than to say that I'm putting out things or things like that. I don't really say much on those other than what the next release will be, or when I release something. DaeseTimes are definitely the only vocal period other than the music. So it's how I kind of talk about things. That's about it. You can like things, you can subscribe to things. That's up to you. I'm gonna leave that all to you. Peace.